The Seiko SPB197J1 might just be the most controversial watch release of 2021. Hi and welcome to Last Watch. If you're new to the channel then please consider subscribing, like this video and hit the notifications button. I'd hate for you to miss out on any of my future content. Today's video is a tale of two watches. It's not a review, but more of a talking point on the definition of what constitutes a limited edition watch. Before I get started, I should say that I'm not here to bash Seiko. I own several of their watches, and if I had the spare cash, would undoubtedly own a lot more. They are one of only a handful of brands that offer watches at every price point, from the affordable entry level to high tier luxury and everything in between. They are, however, not beyond reproach. Back in October of 2020, Seiko released the SPB199J1, a European-only limited edition Alpinist with a unique grey-green-blue dial, which they called the Mountain Glacier. The run of only 2,020 pieces went down a storm with Seiko addicts and collectors alike, a lot of whom had missed out on the previous limited edition Blue Alpinist, the SPB089. The Blue Alpinist had been released 18 months earlier to the US only market and sold like hot pancakes on a cold spring morning. I did consider picking up the Mountain Glacier as an early birthday present to myself. There is something quite mesmerising about the dial, which I thought had an aquamarine or turquoise hue depending on which photos I saw online. If you're a regular to the channel, then you'll know I'm a big bracelet fan, and I wasn't keen on either of the two straps that come with the Mountain Glacier. Yes, the SP199 comes with not one but two straps, which makes the premium asking price over a standard Alpinist look pretty reasonable. I decided to get Christmas out the way, but kept a keen eye on the Mountain Glacier for a possible January purchase. I knew a couple of retailers that surprisingly still had stock, and some of the listings on eBay were sitting at the retail price of £800 as they were being sold by legitimate fans that had double ordered to secure their purchase. There were of course some extortionate listings by scalpers looking to make a quick buck. In January, during my daily online watch hunt, my attention was drawn to a post on Reddit where someone had leaked a low resolution pic of a dozen forthcoming Seiko releases planned for 2021. The top row showed 4 new Alpinists, one of which, designated as the SPB197, paid an uncanny resemblance to the SPB199. It very quickly became a hot topic of conversation in the watch community, who were voicing some concerns but on the whole decided to bide their time until the watch was released. I followed their lead, and we didn't have to wait long. The Seiko SPB197J1 2021 European Edition was released at the beginning of March. The watch is a non-limited edition, which comes on a bracelet and costs £690. That's a £110 saving on the 199. As a bracelet fan, I couldn't have been happier about this release. Putting it politely, the owners of the limited edition 199 were understandably a little bit peeved. When Seiko UK announced the release on Instagram, they met with a barrage of comments. One of the most vocal came from Violent Teddy 67, who called them out for ripping off their customers. Seiko UK reached out privately to all these unhappy customers. I contacted Violent Teddy 67 to get an insight on what had transpired, and she was more than happy to discuss the matter. Yes, she, Violent Teddy, is a rare commodity in the watch world, a woman that loves watches. And I only say that because my analytics prove that 99.9% of my audience is male. If you're a woman watching this video, then please subscribe. Violent Teddy's real name is Karen. She's based in Australia and runs the Seiko Alpinist Appreciation Society Facebook page. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger Alpinist fan. Being based in Australia, Karen paid a substantial premium to get her hands on the European Limited Edition Mountain Glacier. As I said, she's a big fan. Karen explained to her members that she'd had a constructive conversation with Seiko UK, who realised there was an issue of the 197/199 releases. They were taking note of all the complaints to address the situation with head office in Tokyo. Seiko UK would do everything they could to resolve the situation and repair the trust with its customers, but ultimately they explained that they were just a small regional office, a little cog in a very large wheel. The latest update is that Seiko UK have agreed to pay a full refund on the SPB199 if customers choose to return their watches. That in itself is a bit of a grey area and fell short of a successful resolution for many of the owners of the so-called limited edition Alpinist. Karen invited me to join her group so that I could get a sense of the true feeling amongst the Seiko Alpinist community, and it's pretty mixed in its response. Some have said that they will never buy another Seiko, others that they will never buy another limited edition. Many angry customers have decided to cancel orders, whilst in contrast there are others like myself only too happy to have a second chance at owning the Mountain Glacier dial. Interestingly, a lot of those disgruntled owners seem quite cautious about returning what might be a future rarity. Karen, although quite upset by the whole affair, has decided to keep her SPB199. As I said, she's a big fan. She also has her suspicions that the watch may well benefit from the furore and become even more collectible. Rather graciously, Karen accepts that this has been a bit of a bump in the road for her favourite brand. There was a suggestion that this whole saga was a deliberate ploy by Seiko to hype up the watch. Given the popularity of the Mountain Glacier amongst the Seiko community, I'd be surprised if that was true. After seeing the comments from Seiko customers, I reached out to Seiko UK via Instagram and email and got this reply. Thank you for contacting Seiko UK. We have collected customers' feedback from UK and internationally about the SPB199 and SPB197 and raised the issues with our colleagues in Tokyo. We can confirm that there are differences in the accessories that are offered with the SPB197 and that there is no numbered caseback on this watch. We, as Seiko UK Limited, are happy to discuss this on a case-by-case basis with UK customers personally, who purchase from either the Grand Seiko Boutique Knightsbridge or the Seiko Boutique website. We know that our customers are the reason why we make our timepieces, and we are always keen to hear views and discuss watches. If you are one of those Seiko customers affected by the SPB197 or 199 issue, then you should contact Seiko UK Customer Services via email or give them a call. I'll add those contact details in the video description below. There is of course a third party amongst this controversy who are quite literally stuck between Seiko and their customers, the dealers. Whereas Seiko HQ can batten down the hatches and wait for this storm to blow over, the dealers don't have that luxury. I was lucky enough to find an authorised dealer who was more than happy to speak to me about the Mountain Glacier debacle. He did ask that I keep his identity strictly confidential. We can call him Mr. S. Mr. S tells me that he would normally get 6 weeks notice with regards to a new watch release. This can be as little as 1 week's notice for some special editions. He was notified about the SPB199 in early October of 2020 for a release date on the 13th of November. The minimum order number for a new watch is 3 units. His maximum allowance is 20 units. He asked his Seiko rep for 20 SPB199s and was quite surprised to be allocated all 20. He sold the entire allocation of Mountain Glaciers within 2 days of its UK release. I asked Mr. S when he first became aware of the SPB197. He tells me that it popped up on an order sheet in January of 2021 and he queried it immediately with his Seiko rep, who confirmed that it was indeed the same dial as the SPB199. Unfortunately, Mr. S was under an agreed embargo and couldn't even advertise the non-limited Mountain Glacier, let alone discuss its existence, until the 19th of February, ahead of its release on March the 5th. Mr. S told me that as an authorised dealer, he wasn't aware of any refund process being organised by Seiko. and suspected this would only apply to watches bought through the Seiko boutique. After the Reddit leak, Mr. S could see the growing anger on various forums and braced himself for some potential unhappy customers. As way of an apology, he reached out to them with a one-off loyalty discount code, a personal gesture independent of Seiko. Of the 20 watches he had sold, he has dealt with one complaint, and that individual remains a regular customer. As a collector, Mr. S understands only too well why the owners of the SPB199 have a right to be upset, but he explained that this whole escapade will have cemented the limited edition as a future classic. Having that number on the case back and the 2 straps, which are only available as part of the package, will make the SPB199 a guaranteed sought after Seiko. Mr. S is a real watch enthusiast that loves being a Seiko AD. And if I told you everything that we discussed, then this video would be 3 hours long. In closing, Mr. S said we are all entitled to make the occasional mistake. But when a huge global brand like Seiko make a mistake, it ends up under a huge spotlight. He is 100% certain that Seiko have listened to their customers and will not repeat this error with future limited edition releases. Please share your thoughts on the SPB199 and SPB197 controversy. Are you one of those Seiko customers that will never buy another limited edition watch? Or are you more than happy that Seiko released the non-limited version and gave you a second chance to own the Mountain Glacier? Was this a step too far from an organisation that should know better? Are they guilty of ripping off their customers? Was it merely an oversight and a bit of a faux pas by Seiko, trying to do the right thing by their customers? Has this dented the reputation of a company celebrating its 140th year? Or was it a Seiko tsunami wave in a teacup that no one cares about and is best forgotten? I will look forward to reading your comments below. The backdrop for today's video has been the SPB197J1, which I bought from Hillier Jewellers. I will do a full review on the 197 in the coming weeks. I got a great deal on the Mountain Glacier and saved more than £100 off the retail price. I would love to tell you that I got special treatment on the purchase, but the discount I received was available to all new customers buying from Hillier online. Proof you don't need to be a watch reviewer to get a good deal on a watch. I would recommend keeping an eye on the Hillier website. As I'm wrapping this video up, Mr. S has informed me that the SPB197J1 will no longer be a European only edition. There are plans to make it a global release. Many thanks to Karen and of course to Mr. S for helping with today's discussion piece. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next video.